Meredith Langley's voice is smooth, practiced. "I'm sorry, but this property is no longer available." Her lips curl into a polite, almost smug smile. David Carter blinks. Angela grips his hand. A pause stretches between them, heavy and uncomfortable. "That's strange," David says, his voice even. "We confirmed the appointment an hour ago." Meredith nods, tapping manicured nails against her desk. "Yes, well, things move quickly in this market." Angela's heart pounds. Quickly? Too quickly to have let them know before they arrived? She glances around. Other clients pretend not to listen, but the sudden hush in the office betrays their interest. David exhales slowly, his grip tightening. Not this again. The air thickens. Even the assistant at the front desk hesitates, fingers hovering over her keyboard. Angela shifts, crossing her arms. She feels the weight of unseen eyes, the unspoken tension laced between words. David clears his throat. "So, when exactly was it sold?" Meredith offers a placid smile. "Just this morning." Silence. Angela's nails press into David's wrist. He doesn't flinch, but she feels the slight shift in his breathing. Across the room, a middle-aged man glances at them, then quickly looks away. The answer is obvious. But David isn't done yet. "We've been pre-approved." David's voice is calm but firm. "Everything checked out. What changed?" Meredith doesn't meet his eyes. Instead, she stacks a few papers neatly. A slow, deliberate movement. Sometimes things just don't work out. Angela leans forward. "Then why didn't we get a call? If it was sold this morning, we should have known before we got here." Meredith sighs, as if they're the ones being difficult. "Like I said, the market moves fast." David lets the silence hang between them, watching her. He's done this dance before. He knows exactly what's happening. Angela swallows hard. It's not a shock, it's not even anger, it's exhausting. Meredith finally lifts her gaze. A small, knowing smile plays on her lips. "I understand your frustration," she says, tilting her head, "but there's nothing I can do." Angela's chest tightens. She knows that smirk, that look of untouchable confidence. Before David can respond, the door swings open. A young white couple steps in. "Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds, right on time." Meredith beams, standing up. The warmth in her voice is unmistakable. Angela feels something inside her snap. David, however, just nods. "Got it." David stands. Angela follows. Meredith is already turning her attention to the couple when David speaks. "We'll take it in cash." The words land like a slap. Meredith stiffens. Angela watches, fascinated, as the blood drains from the woman's face. "Excuse me?" Meredith's voice is suddenly tight. "Cash," David repeats. "Right here, right now." The assistant at the front desk stops typing. Someone in the waiting area mutters, a sharp whisper between pursed lips. Meredith stares at David as if willing him to back down, but he doesn't. For the first time since they walked in, she looks uncertain. Angela hides a small, satisfied smile. David exhales, slow and steady. "On second thought, we'll handle this another way." Angela laces her fingers through his, squeezing gently. Without another word, they turn for the door. Meredith doesn't stop them. But as they walk out, Angela swears she sees a flicker of something in the Realtor's eyes. Doubt. David Carter tightened his grip on the microphone, scanning the crowd at the business conference. He had stood on stages like this before, but every time, the memory of where he started flashed through his mind. "When I was 12, I watched my mother work 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. I told myself, this cycle ends with me." His voice was steady, but the weight of his past lingered. The audience nodded, captivated. He had built Carter Innovations from nothing, a tech firm that now employed hundreds. But success wasn't just about wealth. It was about rewriting his family's story. As he stepped off stage, his wife, Angela, squeezed his hand. "We're just getting started," she whispered. Angela had spent years proving she belonged in courtrooms where others underestimated her. The first time a judge mistook her for a clerk, she smiled, corrected him, and then dismantled the opposing counsel's argument with precision. "Your Honor, the law doesn't make exceptions based on comfort. It demands justice," she declared, her voice unwavering. Even now, with her reputation solidified, the battles never ceased. She had fought for others, but today she was fighting for her own family's future. David leaned against her office door. "Time to find our dream home," he said. She exhaled. "Let's make history." David scrolled through listings, excitement buzzing between them. This one, great schools, safe neighborhoods, and close to downtown. Angela glanced at the screen. Looks perfect. They had spent years building their careers, overcoming every obstacle thrown their way. Home ownership in an upscale neighborhood wasn't just a goal. It was the culmination of everything they had worked for. The real estate agent, Meredith Langley, greeted them with a rehearsed smile. "You're looking in a competitive area," she said. "Homes go fast." David nodded. "That's why we're ready to move quickly." Neither of them noticed the fleeting hesitation in her eyes. The first two houses they toured were suddenly off the market. The third had unexpected offers overnight. Angela crossed her arms. "Funny how that keeps happening." David exhaled sharply. "We're pre-approved. We have the funds." "What's the real issue here?" Meredith gave a practiced chuckle. "It's just how the market works." But Angela had spent years dissecting carefully worded denials. The hesitation in Meredith's voice, the unease in homeowners' eyes. It wasn't the market. It was them. A neighbor, watching from across the street, murmured to his wife, "Another couple? Don't worry, they won't last long." Angela turned to David. "We're not just buying a house," she murmured. "We're stepping into a fight we didn't see coming." Meredith's lips curled into a tight smile. "I do apologize, Mr. and Mrs. Carter, but I seem to have misplaced your financial details. Would you mind providing them again?" Angela exhaled sharply. "We sent them twice already." "Oh, right." Meredith flips through papers, absent-mindedly. "Things get so hectic around here." David glances at Angela. The hesitation, the feigned forgetfulness. It's not an accident. "Could we at least schedule a viewing?" he asks. Meredith sighs, a practiced pause. "Unfortunately, we have a long list of interested buyers ahead of you." Angela's nails dig into her palm. The smiles, the empty apologies, the endless hoops. It's all meant to push them away, wrapped in a package of politeness. "Well," Meredith continues, "to move forward, we'd need a larger down payment. Maybe 30% instead of 20%. Angela's brow furrows. "That wasn't mentioned before." "Market shifts," Meredith says smoothly, "and we require personal references now." David leans forward. "We're pre-approved. That should be enough." Meredith shrugs, nonchalant. "Company policy." The door chimes, and a white couple steps in. Meredith's demeanor shifts instantly, her voice light, welcoming. "Oh, the Andersons. Perfect timing. Let's get you set up for a viewing." No extra paperwork, no hurdles, just an open door. David watches, his jaw tightening. Angela's fingers lace with his, steady but firm. They both know what's happening. David leans back, observing. A middle-aged white man approaches the desk. Meredith beams. "Of course, Mr. Caldwell. No need for pre-approval, just a quick verification." A younger couple walks in, another warm welcome. No extra questions, no financial scrutiny. Meanwhile, David and Angela sit, waiting, ignored. Angela mutters, "This isn't just a coincidence." David nods, his jaw tightening. It's a pattern. His mind flashes back to every moment in their lives where they had to work twice as hard, prove themselves endlessly. Yet here they were, still being tested, still being doubted. Angela clears her throat. "Meredith, under the Fair Housing Act, this level of scrutiny for pre-approved buyers isn't standard." Meredith's smile doesn't falter. "I'm just following company policy." David speaks up. Then why is it different for them? He nods toward the other clients. Meredith's gaze flickers for a fraction of a second before she straightens. I assure you, we treat all clients fairly. A few nearby customers glance over, some uncomfortable, others indifferent. No one speaks up. Angela leans forward, her voice even but sharp. We're not leaving until we get a straight answer. Meredith's expression hardens. The mask of politeness is slipping. David and Angela aren't backing down, but neither is she. Angela adjusts her blazer, flashing a confident smile as she and David step into the real estate office. Today was supposed to be the day. The house, their dream home, was finally within reach. Meredith barely glances up from her desk. Oh, I meant to call you. Her voice carries a hollow regret, fingers drumming lazily against her keyboard. The house was sold this morning. Angela's smile falters. Sold? David stiffens beside her. That's impossible. We submitted our offer 3 days ago, cash down. Meredith shrugs, offering an insincere tilt of her head. It was a competitive listing. Angela exhales slowly, trying to keep her voice even. We were pre-approved. The paperwork was ready. You assured us. I'm sorry. The words sound rehearsed, but the market moves fast. David clenches his jaw, fists pressing against his sides. Who bought it? Meredith's lips twitch into something that isn't quite a smile. I'm not at liberty to disclose that. The office door swings open. A couple walks in, their faces alight with excitement. A tall man in a tailored suit, another agent, greets them warmly. We're so thrilled to have gotten it, the woman exclaims, squeezing her husband's hand. It's perfect for our growing family. Angela and David exchange a look. Their offer had been in for days. This couple had just arrived. David steps forward, voice measured. Excuse me, but when did you place your offer? The woman hesitates, glancing at her husband. Oh, just yesterday morning. It was such a quick process. Angela's breath catches in her throat. She turns to Meredith, who busies herself with a stack of papers, avoiding eye contact. Interesting, David murmurs. Meredith finally looks up, eyes gleaming with thinly veiled amusement. I told you, this market moves fast. Angela clenches her fists, nails pressing into her palm. The insult is clear. This was never meant for them. David exhales through his nose, the familiar burn of injustice settling in his chest. He's seen this before, felt it before. But that doesn't make it any easier. The room is silent, yet the tension is suffocating. Near the reception desk, a woman shifts uncomfortably. Her voice is barely above a whisper. That's not right. Another client, a young man, watches the exchange with a frown. A soft chime pings as someone raises their phone, recording. Small acts of defiance in a space built to keep people like David and Angela out. But will it make a difference? Angela inhales sharply, the weight of this moment settling in her bones. She's fought battles before, courtrooms filled with judges and juries. But here, in this brightly lit office, she wonders if the law even matters. Angela straightens, pulling out her phone. A few quick taps, and the real estate listing appears. The house is still marked as available. No mention of a sale, no pending offers, nothing. She turns the screen toward Meredith. Explain this. For the first time, Meredith hesitates. A flicker of something crosses her face. Surprise? Annoyance? That must be a system error, she says, feigning innocence. Angela doesn't blink. Or discrimination. Murmurs ripple through the room. The recording phone stays lifted. A receptionist shifts in her chair, suddenly fascinated by her keyboard. Meredith exhales sharply, her confidence returning. Mistakes happen. She leans back, eyes gleaming. I'm sure there was just a mix-up. Angela doesn't move, her gaze steady. David's hand finds hers, his grip firm but calm. Let's go, he says, voice low and unwavering. Angela hesitates, then nods. David turns to Meredith, his expression unreadable. This isn't over. David sat in the dimly lit living room, his phone gripped tightly in his hand. His jaw clenched, fury simmering beneath his controlled demeanor. The rejection at the real estate office wasn't just an insult, it was a challenge. He exhaled sharply, then started dialing. One by one, he contacted his most trusted business partners. The conversation was brief, but the message was clear. "We're not just buying a house," he stated firmly. "We're buying the whole damn neighborhood." Angela looked up from the couch, studying her husband's expression. "Are you sure?" she asked, her voice quiet but steady. David nodded. "They think they get to decide who belongs. Let's show them how wrong they are." With that, the plan was set in motion. The next morning, David and his team walked into the real estate office with purpose. The air was thick with tension as they approached the front desk. "We want to make offers on every available property," David said, sliding a folder onto the counter. "Cash, no negotiations." The receptionist hesitated, glancing nervously at her colleagues. Agents in the office exchanged uneasy glances. This wasn't how things were supposed to work. A door swung open. Meredith strolled in, flipping through a file, utterly oblivious to the storm about to hit. She barely glanced up. "Can I help you?" David folded his arms. "We're buying." The room fell silent. Papers piled up, signatures filled documents, and deals closed with lightning speed. Meredith's fingers trembled as she flipped through the contracts. Each property sold bore the same name, David Carter. Her confidence faltered. You can't do this," she stammered, her usual condescension replaced with uncertainty. David raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" "The market moves fast, doesn't it?" Angela leaned in, her voice like steel. "That's what you told us." Meredith swallowed hard, but words failed her. The power she once wielded so effortlessly was slipping from her grasp, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. By noon, the video of the Carters' rejection was everywhere. Social media erupted. "This is blatant discrimination," one tweet read. News stations picked up the story. Civil rights activists and reporters crowded into Meredith's office, cameras rolling. A lawyer stepped forward. "Care to explain why the Carters were denied a home, yet these properties miraculously remained available?" Meredith shrank under the weight of the questions. The walls of her carefully constructed world were closing in. For the first time, she wasn't the one in control. David and Angela stood outside, watching the chaos unfold. "They tried to shut us out," Angela murmured, her fingers intertwined with David's. He exhaled, the tension in his shoulders slowly easing. "Not anymore." Inside, Meredith sat frozen as the voices around her grew louder. David turned away, his voice calm but resolute. "Let's go. We have keys to pick up." Meredith's hands tremble as she scrolls through the news headlines. Real estate agent exposed for racial bias. State investigation revokes license over discrimination claims. Her phone buzzes relentlessly. Reporters, former clients, legal notices. The weight of her downfall presses against her chest. At the state office, she faces the committee, her voice cracking. "This is a misunderstanding. I have served this community for years." "You served yourself," a stern voice cuts in. "Your actions denied families their rights. There's no place for discrimination in this industry." The final ruling echoes in her ears. Revoked, career in ruins. Her name is forever linked to injustice. Outside, cameras flash, protesters chant. She grips her bag, pushing through the crowd, but the whispers follow her. She spent years turning people away. Now, the doors are closing on her. Angela's hands shake as she signs the final document. David watches her, a slow smile forming. "It's really ours," she whispers. Their new agent, a young black woman, slides the keys across the table. "Welcome home." This time, the words feel different. Real. Earned. As they walk through the front door, Angela exhales deeply, running her fingers over the walls that once felt unattainable. The victory isn't just about them. It's about every family who was ever told no because of the color of their skin. David turns to her, determination burning in his eyes. This isn't where it ends. She nods. Number. This is just the beginning. For decades, the community resisted change. But change came anyway. Families of all backgrounds move in. Laughter and culture filling the once exclusive streets. Children of different races play together, their parents exchanging warm greetings over shared fences. Some of the old residents watch from their porches, silent and wary. But they can't stop the inevitable. The neighborhood is no longer a gated illusion of privilege. It's alive, diverse, thriving. At a community gathering, a woman hesitates before stepping toward Angela. I was wrong, she admits quietly, about all of this. Angela studies her, then smiles. Change is hard, but it's necessary. The woman nods, the first crack in a wall long overdue to fall. David and Angela sit on their porch, watching their children race across the front yard, their laughter cutting through the evening air. This isn't just about us, David murmurs, his gaze steady. It's about legacy. Angela leans against him. And we're just getting started. The world tried to push them out. Instead, they planted roots. What was once a fight for a house became something much bigger. A movement, a shift, a lesson in resilience. As the sun sets over their home, the past lingers in the air, but the future is what truly shines. And it's only just begun. Have you, or someone you know, ever faced housing discrimination? Your story matters. Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. Discrimination isn't just history, it's happening now. The more we share, the stronger our voices become. Speak up, because silence allows injustice to continue. If you believe in justice and equality, hit that like button and subscribe. Every action counts. This isn't just a story. It's a reality that affects countless lives. Supporting this movement means standing against racism, supporting fair housing, and pushing for change. Will you take a stand? Racism in real estate is real, but so is justice. And justice starts with awareness. Every share, every discussion, every moment of awareness is a step toward change. Together, we can ensure a future where no family is denied a home because of their skin color. Let's keep the conversation going.